To begin with, let me get the this event started by introducing the panelists on stage over here. I'm going to begin by introducing Mr. Rajesh Verma, who is Chief General Manager of the Customer Services Department at Reserve Bank of India. On his right is the Honorable Ombudsman of Andhra Pradesh, Mr. Matthew Sebastian. On his right is Mr. T.S. Krishnaswamy, who is General Manager at State Bank of India. On my left, Anita Pai, who is Head of Customer Service at ICICI Bank. On her left is Mr. Narayanan, CEO of the Banking Codes and Standards Board of India. And also on my extreme left is Mr. Surya Narayana Rao, who is General Manager of Andhra Bank. To get this whole event going, really, I'm going to start this process off by getting banks to talk to you about how they actually run customer complaint redressal systems within their banks, innovative steps they've taken in the past to address this issue and actually reduce the number of customer complaints that come to them. Anita, let me begin with you.
Absolutely. Every person who has a bank will do lots of transactions with the bank. Transactions on the ATM, transactions with checks which are given for clearing. They may have statements reaching home. They may be making loan payments, EMI payments, etc. So there are obviously chances that something may go amiss. What the philosophy that a lot of banks would do, and definitely what we have done at ICICI Bank, is to make sure that we are accessible to consumers. We have about a branch network of about 2,500 across the country. We have also offered customers the convenience to be able to sit at your desk and put in a complaint. You can call up the call center, or you can even log on into the internet and put in your complaint from there. So I think the first and most important thing that banks would do is to ensure that we are accessible. We're accessible for different types of people in the type of channel that they prefer. So most importantly, the second thing that we've done is to make sure that the minute the complaint is registered with us, we have a single computer system that works through across all the channels. So the customer does not need to repeat his issue. So for example, if he went to the call center, he called up the call center and put up his issue, but if he had to go to the branch later on, he does not need to repeat his issue, because the computer system for customer issues is all the same. So that makes the customer feel that yes, the branch does know about what I'm talking, although I might have registered my issue at the call center. So I think that's the second thing that we do. The third thing that we do is make sure that every complaint type, we give a maximum amount of time that we will take for redressal. So typically, the minute an issue is registered with us, we do send out an SMS to customers to say your issue has been registered. We would take 5 days, 6 days, depending, or sometimes even a day or 2 days, depending on the type of issue, to resolve it and come back to you. So I think those are all the things, Judge, that we would do. A lot of it is using technology, but basically making sure that accessibility and convenience of the customer is kept in mind.
All right, I'm going to come to Mr. Narayanan to talk about what the BCSBI really does. You've heard of the BCSBI. Many of you have heard of it. You don't know what exactly it does. And I don't think there's any better person to explain to you what the BCSBI is all about.
Okay. Essentially, it is a standard setting body. It's a body which actually evolves codes of behavior of banks towards customers and sets out the customer's rights and entitlements. What are these codes? These codes are essentially the charter of rights of the customers. Since we came into existence, we have come out with two sets of codes. One is the code of commitment towards customers, that's the individual customers, like retail customers, if you will. And the other one is code of commitment towards micro and small enterprises. Now, what are these codes actually? How does it actually impact the customers? As I said, these are the charter of rights or the entitlements and rights and privileges of customers. It also embodies some of the duties of customers towards the bank. Let me start off by giving you an example or so. Like for instance, let's take the simple savings account, savings bank account, which everybody has. What the codes require the banks to do is to spell out to the customer what are the terms and conditions. Like for instance, the minimum balance. It varies from bank to bank. But when you as the customer actually approach a bank, the bank is obliged in terms of the codes, it's required in terms of the codes to tell you what is the minimum balance And in case the minimum balance is violated, what are the penalty that is applicable? So virtually everything is required to be informed to the customer. So this is, basically founded on transparency and ethical banking practices. Other thing that we do also, BCSBI does, is to act as a watchdog to monitor and ensure that the banks which have adopted these codes and committed not to follow these codes, do actually follow so.
So you've got a sense of what really the BCSBI does, and I'd like State Bank of India to talk about the customer service initiatives that it's taken in recent times.
Yeah, thank you, George. You were telling in the initial remark that how banks would like to reduce the complaints. On the contrary, in State Bank of India, we want to encourage and get more complaints, because if there is a dissatisfied customer, he can complain to us, get his complaint resolved, and then remain a satisfied customer. If the complaint is not resolved, he doesn't even complain or air it about it, then he may just walk away to another bank and we will lose a good customer. So we encourage customers to do more and more of complaints. In the banking arena, in the last 10-12 years, I've seen a sea of change. Earlier, they were all customers of a single brick and mortar branch. They were customer walking and doing in transactions in a particular branch. But technology has made it in such a way that they no longer are a customer of a single branch, they are customer of the bank, because core banking has enabled them to do the transaction wherever they want. Not only that, so many other channels have been now introduced, like ATM, internet banking, all those multiple mobile banking, all these are introduced that a person need not go to a branch at all to do a transaction. Despite that, if he has a grievance, if he has a complaint to make, how does he make it? So we have introduced a very simple and cheapest way of making a complaint through a simple SMS. Unhappy, one word. Only he has to send unhappy to a designated number. It is a single number for all India. Then he will be called by our people. We have call centers, we have people, our own staff members who man these centers, who call them to find out what is the reason for unhappiness, then where it is problem, whether he has not understood or there is a deficiency in service, or we can solve the problem. So we solve the problem, we can make him a happy man in 48 to 72 hours. In fact, after introduction of this service, we also went about giving a lot of advertisements and publicity, encouraging people to lodge SMS complaints to the bank, and it also made, initially there was a surge of complaints, later on it has stabilized. In a written complaint case, there will be hardly 5 to 8% of our branches will get average of one complaint in a month. That was our standards earlier, where our ratio. But after we introduced this SMS complaint and we encourage more and more people to give complaints, we get about 20 to 25% of the branches get some complaint or the other every month. So that is what we get. That means more people have something to tell about, which we were not doing. They were all hidden under them. They were not doing it. Latent complaints were there. We bring it out, solve the problem, and convert him into a happy man using technology and our back office resources.
Sure, but when you started out, did you say that if a customer is unhappy, he will go away to another bank or he will go away to Andhra Bank?
He may go to any bank.
So Mr. Suryanarayan Rao will be very happy if he hears that. We've got the banking ombudsman over here, and I'm actually going to ask Mr. Sebastian to talk to you a little about what the ombudsman's role is. He is someone you can reach out to in the event that banks don't respond to your complaints. But I'm going to get Mr. Sebastian to really talk to you. He's the man who is ultimately the ombudsman of the state.
Yeah, thank you, George. The banking ombudsman is essentially an alternate grievance redressal forum for resolution of bank customer grievances. The banking ombudsman scheme has been notified by the Reserve Bank in terms of section 35A of the Banking Regulation Act, which means that the scheme has a statutory basis. The remarkable aspect of the banking ombudsman scheme is its simplicity. Apart from the simplicity, I would also say it is very robust, that it packs a lot of punch. Right? The scheme is essentially cost-free. There is absolutely no cost involved in approaching the banking ombudsman, and it is absolutely hassle-free. The scheme provides certain valid grounds for complaints. These largely relate to delay in collection of checks, refusal to open accounts, ATM-related complaints, credit card-related complaints, delay in pension, delay in sanctioning loans, non-compliance with the BCSBI code or fair practices code in lending. There are an assorted range of valid grounds for complaints. Essentially, a customer can come to the banking ombudsman only in respect of a consumer dispute and not a matter relating to recovery or a loan or a civil matter. Approaching the banking ombudsman is, as I said, hassle-free and very simple. You can approach the banking ombudsman just by sending a simple letter. You can send an email to us. You can use a formal complaint form which we have, or you can log on to our website and file a complaint. The only requirement which we have is that before you approach the banking ombudsman, you need to approach the bank first and give the bank an opportunity to solve your complaint. In case the bank fails to solve your complaint, you are most welcome to approach the banking ombudsman, and the banking ombudsman would take up your complaint with the bank.
All right, Mr. Verma, I'm going to come to you in just a moment. But before that, Mr. Rao, if you could take customers through what Andhra Bank has really done on the customer service front.
Thank you, George. We've taken three initiatives. We have started conducting the customer meeting across the country on a single day, and a wide publicity is given for all to attend the branches, 1700 branches, wherever they are customers, so that there is no discrimination at the branch level in inviting the customers for giving any complaints or any grievances they have. Which we are conducting once in 6 months. I think we have conducted around 5-6 in the last 2 years. This has given us a real good feedback with regard to the service at the branch level and also at the other branches also. There are customers who are having customers, and the next point is these customers meeting chairman and all the executives at head office and the zonal offices, they will attend to for every branch one executive will go, so that they will get a real feedback from the customers. This has really given us a good feedback about the service. And the second thing which we have started is SMS as upset. This SMS, by sending an SMS to a particular number, by giving that he is upset, we are able to resolve large number of complaints. These are the initiatives we have taken.
All right, so you've heard from the three banks present on the panel the number of initiatives they've taken to address customer grievances. You've also heard from the banking ombudsman what the ombudsman is really about and what you can do in terms of approaching the ombudsman to address your grievances. You've also heard from the Banking Codes and Standards Board of India. But clearly the buck stops with the man sitting next to me, Mr. Rajesh Verma. Mr. Verma, my question to you really is, would you say that over the last 3 years, you've seen a fair amount of progress, or would you say you've seen significant progress in terms of the manner in which banks have really addressed customer grievances?
Certainly, George, we have 15 ombudsmen all over the country, and we get about, last year we got about 70,000 complaints, and these number of complaints have been increasing over the years. So that shows that the awareness about this ombudsman scheme is increasing among the banking customers, and the rate of resolution of these complaints are about 94%. The bank customers have confidence in the institution of banking ombudsman. That is why the complaints are increasing from year to year. Recently there was a survey conducted by Consumer Voice, which is an NGO is based in Delhi, and it works in association with the Ministry of Consumer Affairs. They had conducted a survey on the banking complaints and banking services, and they had come to a conclusion that of all the sectors, I mean, they receive complaints from across the sectors, from telecom sector, from other sectors. Banking sector, they have found that it has the best resolution mechanism of customer complaints, and they have also concurred with us that the percentage of resolution of complaints is very high. It is in about 95 to 96%. So that means the banks having set up their own internal mechanisms for resolving the consumer complaints, as well as the Reserve Bank having taken measures in the form of banking ombudsman, and also from time to time Reserve Bank has also been appointing committees to recommend measures for improving the customer service in the banking sector. The latest in this series was Damodaran Committee, which submitted its report last year, and it has made about 232 recommendations towards various banking services, and out of which about 88 we have already implemented across the banks, and the remaining we are in consultation with the IBA and other stakeholders, And we hope that the remaining recommendations of the Damodaran Committee will also be implemented in due course. And with this, the customer service, the standards and the resolution of the complaints and the awareness among the public about their rights, rights of the services which they can demand from the banks, and the customers' sensitivity toward the customers' grievances, and to set up internal redressal mechanisms. This will get a further boost, and it will go a long way in having a very big mass of satisfied banking customers in the country.